Microsoft is one of the most powerful companies in modern technology, but its influence is so widespread that it can be easy to miss. It is not just the company behind Windows, the operating system that shaped the personal computer era. It is also behind Office documents, Excel spreadsheets, Outlook email, Xbox gaming, Azure cloud infrastructure, developer tools, search services, enterprise databases, and a growing presence in artificial intelligence. Headquartered in Redmond, Washington, Microsoft became one of the defining companies of the digital age by building software that millions of people used every day, then expanding that software foundation into business computing, consumer services, hardware, gaming, and the cloud. Its story is not just about products. It is about timing, strategy, dominance, reinvention, and the constant pressure to stay relevant as technology changes. The company began in 1975, when Bill Gates and Paul Allen saw an opportunity in the early personal computer market. At the time, computers were not yet ordinary household or office tools. They were often hobbyist machines, sold as kits or used by technically skilled enthusiasts. Gates and Allen created software for the Altair 8800, specifically a basic interpreter that allowed people to write and run programs more easily. This mattered because hardware alone was not enough to make personal computing useful. Software gave the machine purpose. Microsoft's earliest business was built around that insight. As computers spread, the companies that supplied essential software could become extremely important. From the beginning, Microsoft positioned itself not as a hardware maker, but as a company that could provide the language and tools that made hardware valuable. Microsoft's real breakthrough came with MS-DOS, the operating system that became closely associated with IBM PC-compatible computers in the 1980s. This was a turning point because the personal computer market was beginning to standardize. Businesses, schools, and home users needed machines that could run the same kinds of programs, and operating systems became the foundation for that compatibility. MS-DOS gave Microsoft a central role in the PC ecosystem. Instead of selling one piece of software to one manufacturer, Microsoft licensed its operating system widely, allowing many hardware companies to build compatible machines. That licensing model helped Microsoft grow alongside the expanding PC market. As IBM-compatible computers multiplied, Microsoft's software became a common layer across the industry, setting the stage for the company's later dominance. Windows transformed Microsoft from an important software supplier into a household name. Earlier computers often required typed commands, which made them intimidating for many users. Windows introduced a graphical interface built around icons, menus, and overlapping windows, making the computer feel more accessible. Over time, Windows became the dominant operating system for IBM PC-compatible machines, especially during the 1990s. This dominance created a powerful network effect. Software developers wanted to build for the platform with the most users, and users wanted the platform with the most available programs. That cycle reinforced Microsoft's position. Windows was not merely a product, it became the environment where office work, home computing, education, gaming, and internet access increasingly took place. For a generation, using a PC often meant using Windows. Microsoft's 1986 initial public offering became one of the most famous wealth creation moments in technology history. As Microsoft's share price rose, it created several billionaires and an estimated 12,000 millionaires among employees. But the importance of the IPO was not only financial. It gave Microsoft the resources and market credibility to expand aggressively. Public investors were betting that software would become one of the most valuable industries in the world, and Microsoft became one of the clearest examples of that shift. The company's success also helped change how people thought about technology businesses. A software company did not need factories on the scale of traditional industrial giants to become enormously valuable. It needed intellectual property, distribution, market share, and the ability to become essential to daily work. While Windows controlled the operating system layer, Microsoft Office helped the company dominate workplace productivity. Word, Excel, and PowerPoint became standard tools for writing documents, analyzing data, and building presentations. Their success was partly about features, but also about compatibility and habit. Once offices standardized on Microsoft file formats, it became difficult to switch. Employees were trained on the software, companies exchanged documents in Microsoft formats, and schools taught students the same tools they would use at work. Over time, Office evolved into Microsoft 365, a subscription-based productivity platform that includes cloud storage, collaboration features, and constant updates. This shift showed Microsoft's ability to turn one-time software purchases into recurring services, while keeping its productivity tools central to business communication and knowledge work. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Microsoft was no longer just admired for its success. It was also heavily scrutinized. Its dominance in operating systems and Office software brought accusations of monopolistic practices, especially as competitors argued that Microsoft used Windows to protect and extend its market power. The company also faced criticism over software reliability, ease of use, security vulnerabilities, and the complexity of its products. These criticisms mattered because Microsoft had become infrastructure. When its software failed, it affected businesses, governments, schools, and consumers around the world. The more essential Microsoft became, the more people questioned its power. This tension became a recurring theme in the company's history. Microsoft benefited from scale, but scale also made every technical flaw, business decision, and competitive tactic more visible. In 2000, Steve Ballmer replaced Bill Gates as CEO, leading Microsoft through a period of both expansion and uncertainty. Under Ballmer, Microsoft remained extremely profitable, especially through Windows and Office, but the technology world was changing. The internet, smartphones, search engines, and social platforms were reshaping how people used computers. Microsoft made major moves, including the acquisition of Skype in 2011, which was then its largest corporate acquisition. The company also moved deeper into hardware, launching the Surface line in 2012 as its first major in-house PC family. This was a significant shift because Microsoft had traditionally relied on hardware partners to build Windows machines. Surface showed that Microsoft was willing to design its own devices to showcase its software and compete in a changing market. Microsoft's hardware ambitions extended beyond PCs, most notably through Xbox. The Xbox brand turned Microsoft into a serious player in video games, a market that combined entertainment, software, online services, and hardware ecosystems. Xbox was more than a console. It included the Xbox network, digital storefronts, subscriptions, studios, and online multiplayer services. Gaming gave Microsoft a consumer identity beyond Windows and Office, while also pushing the company into high-performance hardware, digital distribution, and community-based platforms. Later, Microsoft formalized its gaming ambitions with the creation of Microsoft Gaming in 2022. Its acquisition of Activision Blizzard in 2023 further expanded its role in the industry, adding major franchises and strengthening its position in a market where content, subscriptions, and cloud delivery are increasingly important. The most important modern shift came when Satya Nadella became CEO in 2014. Nadella pushed Microsoft toward cloud computing, services, and a more open approach to technology ecosystems. Azure, Microsoft's cloud computing platform, became central to this transformation. Instead of depending mainly on selling software for individual PCs, Microsoft increasingly sold computing power, storage, databases, developer tools, and enterprise services over the Internet. This changed the company's growth story. Businesses were moving their operations to the cloud, and Microsoft already had deep relationships with corporate customers. Azure allowed the company to serve those customers in a new way, competing in one of the most important technology markets of the 21st century. Under Nadella, Microsoft became less defined by Windows alone and more defined by cloud infrastructure. Microsoft's modern empire is broad because it serves both consumers and enterprises. On the consumer side, it offers services like Bing Search, Outlook.com Email, MSN, the Microsoft Store, and Microsoft Rewards, which gives users points for activities such as searching on Bing. On the enterprise and developer side, it provides Microsoft SQL Server, Visual Studio, Azure, cybersecurity tools, collaboration platforms, and business software. This split is important. Many people think of Microsoft through the products they see on their own screens, but much of the company's power comes from services running behind the scenes in businesses and data centers. Developers build with Microsoft tools, companies store data on Microsoft platforms, and organizations manage work through Microsoft software. The company's reach extends from personal productivity to the infrastructure of global business. Microsoft is now one of the most valuable public companies in the world, and in April 2019 it became the third publicly traded U.S. company to pass a $1 trillion valuation. That milestone reflected decades of dominance, adaptation, and strategic reinvention. But Microsoft's scale also means its actions are constantly debated. It has faced criticism for monopolistic behavior, software security issues, usability problems, and, more recently, for its role in providing services to Israel during the Gaza war. The company's story is therefore not a simple tale of innovation or success. It is a story about how a software startup became global infrastructure. Microsoft helped define personal computing, survived major shifts in technology, and reinvented itself around cloud and AI. Its greatest strength is the same reason it remains controversial: it is deeply embedded in the digital world. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.